Hey guys, what's going on? This is Sam, and welcome back to Video Game Analytics. And today we're talking about the Sega Genesis. So there's actually a few things that I want to talk about the Sega Genesis. I want to take a look at what the prices are doing, and I want to also take a look to see how it compares to the NES. So let's talk about that today. So in today's video, I wanted to focus on the prices from February. I know today's March 1st, but I want to take a little bit of time before I scrape the prices in March. So today, let's focus on what's going on with the Sega Genesis February. So one of the things I want to focus on is the fact that how much closer the mean and median prices are for the Sega Genesis. The actual mean price is around $12.62, while the median price is $8.82. This is much closer. If we consider the NES, if we consider all the games, with including stadium events, it was actually closer to $40 being the mean, and while the median was around $10 and some change, I believe. That's one thing off the bat I want to mention is how much closer median are, which kind of gives you an idea that prices for the Sega Genesis are nowhere near as skewed as they are for the NES. The next thing I want to talk about is the prices below the median. So we saw that the median is around $8.82, which means that half of the Genesis library is less than $8.82. So it's not too bad. It's affordable, still collectible, and given that there are over 700 games for the Genesis, which is almost comparable to the NES, there's actually a lot of great games you can collect for. But actually, if we start breaking down and look at the 25th percentile, we'll see that the 25th percentile is around $5.45. This is fairly comparable to the NES. The NES it was around $6. But when you start going down below, if you look at the 10th or 5th percentile, these are actually below $4. Well, the NES, they were still above $5. So some of the cheaper games for the Genesis are definitely below the NES, which makes it more affordable to collect. You probably can still find $2 games for the Genesis. They might be sports titles, I'm not quite sure. That's something I'd like to look to a little bit later, but the games are cheaper than the NES. Now, the next part, I actually want to look at the prices above the median. So median, once again, being $8.82. Let's look at all the games above $8.82. If we look at the 75th percentile, that means 25% of the Genesis games are going to be almost about $15 or more. That's quite a bit less than the NES. And if we look at the 90th percentile, which means 10%, around 70 games for the Genesis, are going to be $27.29 or more. So this is actually going to be quite a bit less than the NES. But let's take a direct comparison. So if we directly compare the Genesis and the NES, there are a few things to note. One thing, how close the cheaper games are, but how different the expensive games are. So the medians are fairly comparable with the Genesis being, once again, $8.82, but the NES is $10.70. $2 off, so really not too far. But what really becomes noticeable is that the 75th percentile, for the Genesis is around about $15, while the NES is $21.65. So they start to diverge here. But if we go even further, we can actually notice something more conspicuous when we start looking at the even higher prices. So looking at the expensive games for both systems, we notice off the bat how much more affordable the Sega Genesis is compared to the NES, which makes him, if you want a complete Genesis library, it's going to be a lot more affordable. I'm not saying it's cheap, but more affordable. So we got the 90th percentile, so means 10% of the library for the Genesis, around 70 games, is going to be, as we mentioned before, $27.29. And the 95th percentile, which means 5% of the library, is about 35 games, are about $34.65. Now compare that with the NES. the NES is almost triple the price for the 90th percentile, and almost, once again, 3 times the price for the 95th percentile. The NES, the 95th percentile is $100. The Genesis is around $35. Big difference. Big difference. That's almost 3 games you can get for one NES game. So the Genesis, it's got a great library. I gotta admit, I didn't have it as a kid. I was jealous. I had the Super NES. I love the Super NES, but there were definitely some games on there which I'd love to get to another video. Toe Jam and Roll. But so yeah, so that's it for today's segment. I'd like to actually compare the total values of what was the Genesis doing? Was it done over time? What are the great categories of the Genesis? Now, categories are fairly easy. I was able to use Pat Contry's Guide to the NES Library to get categories for the NES, but the Genesis, I gotta find other sources. So hopefully we'll be able to look at another segment. But for today, thanks for watching and have a good one.